If you're a business owner doing business across the world and you want a structure where you can lower your taxes while running your business smoothly across borders, there are of course many different business structures that you can choose from. Different countries offer different benefits, different taxes, and this thing is always case by case. But there is one business structure that I see much more often than any other one across my friends and our clients, and it is also the one that I use personally, and that is the combination of a UAE company, usually as the holding company or otherwise, and the US LLC structure. So in this video, I'm gonna go over this structure, why it is so effective, why I use it personally, why these two business structures work so well together, and how to set it up as fast and easily as possible. So essentially what this structure entails is a UAE free zone company. Sometimes it can be a mainland company as well, but usually a free zone company that you own personally. And then you have the US LLC structure. So a US company, specifically the LLC, which is treated by the US as a disregarded entity. And then you can either hold that personally or you can hold that via that company. So you can have this UAE company also act as a holding company if you so prefer. So while this structure is extremely popular, it can be very hard to find a service provider that can actually set up both of these for you. For the longest time, people who set this up, including myself, had to like juggle one service provider for the UAE end that didn't really understand the US side, and then a different one on the US side who didn't really understand how these two structures work together, and the UAE side and everything like that. But now actually the company that I have worked with for the longest time for my UAE company side actually also does US LLC setup. So if you want to set up the structure after watching this video, you can actually set up both of these companies in the same place using my team at GenZone. I cannot speak more highly for them. Whenever I have any problems, any questions regarding anything related to UAE or my UAE company, I always ask them. But now because they themselves and so many of their clients were setting up US LLCs, they also offer that as part of the service or separately if you already have a UAE company or something like that. So if you're looking to set up the structure, I highly recommend you book a free consultation with the team at GenZone down below in the description, where you can ask any questions you have, or you can also speak to them directly using this QR code right here on WhatsApp. This is the only service provider out there that I'm aware of that does both of these, that understands both sides, that actually understands your business needs as an online business owner, as an international business owner, because most service providers out there for the USLC or the UAE or whatever only understand one country. They don't understand the holistic picture of reducing taxes, like how to do all the filings for all these companies and everything like that. So if you want to work with someone who understands your specific needs, I highly recommend you work with GenZone and speak to them for free down below. So with that, why is this structure so popular and why do I personally use it and why are so many people using it basically? Well, as a starting point, when we are setting up a corporate structure, what we want normally are two things. First of all, we want low taxes and also low fees. So essentially the lowest cost. But we also want the second part, which most people ignore, is to be able to run your business as smoothly as possible. Now, there's a lot of people out there who will promote things like Cayman Islands companies and things like that, which can give you low taxes technically, but what they disregard is the second part, which is very, very important to actually allow you to run your business smoothly. That means things like banking, compliance, payment processing, all matter. Like for example, if you cannot get banking for your whatever Cayman Islands company, it doesn't matter that technically you could get 0% tax for it if you can't actually use it. So this is why this structure works so well together, because on the taxes side, with the UAE company, what you crucially get, what you don't get with many company setups in low tax jurisdiction, is easy residency in the UAE, which is a 0/low tax country, kind of depending on your business category and things like that. Because what matters for taxes is not actually even where you set up your company, it's where that company is operated and managed from. AKA, if you run a company as a sole business owner, where you live is what is going to determine where you pay taxes. So then the question is going to be, in what low tax place can you actually reasonably get residence, and what is a low tax place where you might actually want to live? Because again, there's going to be a lot of options like these small islands or something, but let's face it, like most people are not going to want to live there. So the UAE is unique in a sense that you can simply set up a company there and get residency for yourself in Dubai or in Abu Dhabi or wherever you want to live, and it gives you low taxes while being a fantastic place to actually live and make more money and network and get great weather and everything like that. So really, your UAE company serves the purpose of getting that residency, which allows you to get the tax residency for yourself and your company in the UAE. And on the second part of running your business smoothly, this is where the US LLC essentially comes in. Now, in many cases, you can also simply use your UAE company to do all your business, and there are no issues with that. But in certain cases, and in a lot of cases, you actually want to have the US LLC to process payments for your company. So if you're in the type of business where you need to process payments directly, I'm talking like taking credit cards from customers, a lot of the times there are problems with doing this from the UAE company, because especially if you're charging credit cards from like US or European customers, credit card companies in these countries often block payments that are going to places like the UAE. So with a UAE company, you might have like, I don't know, 5% decline rate on your payments or 10% decline rate. And if you're processing $1 million a year, that translates to $50,000 to $100,000 that you could be losing every single year. However, if you set up a US LLC to do your billing for you, that essentially means you're saving 50 to 100,000 or like however much you would be saving from those decline payments that now go through simply by having this business structure on top of your UAE company. And there's some other benefits as well, like you can get a US bank account where if you have US clients, it can be easier to take payments, but the payment processing is the main point here. So this is really why the structure works so well. The UAE company gives you the tax setup, the US LLC gives you the payment processing and allows you to take in money from your customers as smoothly as possible. So how do you set up this structure? Well, there's 4 steps involved. Number 1, you need to set up your UAE free zone company, which if you use GenZone can be done in as little as 1 week. You get VIP processing. We will help you file it with the government. We will help you choose the correct free zone for your company, because this can be very, very difficult if you do it on your own. And if you choose the wrong free zone, like a cheap free zone, which a lot of people are going to do, you might not be able to get banking. And there's all kinds of issues you can run into if you're trying to do this on your own. So I would just recommend using a service provider that knows what they're doing. GenZone has done this more than 800 times, so you can definitely know that they are going to be able to process this correctly for you. After that, what you're going to do is hire yourself with this UAE company, get yourself a residence visa in the UAE that allows you to live there, and then as long as you spend more than 90 days of the year in the UAE, you get tax residence for yourself in the UAE. And as long as you are not like spending significantly more time in any other country, the UAE is also going to treat your company as a tax resident of the UAE. Now, the final step is to set up your US LLC, which you can either have owned by your UAE company. The benefit of that is that if you later on decide to move to a higher tax country, you can allow the profits of the US LLC to not flow to yourself personally, and you can just keep them in your holding company structure, or you can have it owned personally as well if you don't think that this is going to be the case for you. And the way that you are going to use the structure is that when you get paid by your customers, they're going to go to your US LLC, where you're going to open a bank account with a bank called Mercury, which is the best account that especially international founders use. By the way, if you want to open that account, you can also get $250 for completely free as long as you deposit and maintain at least $10,000 in that account. You can use my referral link down below in the description to do that. And when you receive your money there in US dollars, what you can do is then pay from this Mercury account to your UAE company's WEO Business US dollar account. So WEO Business is the bank account that I recommend for both business owners. You can open a US dollar account and receive these US dollars into your UAE structure completely free of any fee. And then within your WEO Business bank account, you're gonna convert the US dollars into UAE dirhams. And with WEO, the fee on this is very, very nominal, like 0.1% or something like that. And then you're gonna pay those dirhams to yourself personally as a salary or dividends or however you are paying yourself. So that is the oversimplified picture of how the structure works, how to set it up, and why it makes so much sense. Now, there's a lot of detail that I haven't covered here. For example, both of these companies, if you are living and operating these from the UAE, have to be registered for UAE corporate tax. And that is even if you are below the small business threshold of $816,000 a year in revenue, we don't have to actually pay any tax. Regardless, you still have to register them for corporate tax. You have to file your tax returns. You might have to do VAT returns, and there's all kinds of different compliance. You also have to do for the US LLC, both in the UAE and also in the US. And there's a lot of filings you have to do, for example, for the IRS and everything like that. It's very, very simple once you know like what forms to fill and how to fill them. But it is something that a lot of business owners simply ignore. And if you ignore these filings, either in the UAE or in the US, you can get a lot of very big fines and end up in a lot of trouble that you do not want to get yourself into. Now, of course, you can try to figure this out on your own, spend like 100 hours doing research, but probably if you're making money, that's not going to be worth it for you, which is why, again, it's so good to use a service provider that can not only set up both of these companies at the same time for you. They understand how they work together, they understand your international business, and then they can connect you to accountants and advisors both in the UAE and in the US. For example, for any tax related questions in the US, they have a contact to a US CPA that specializes on non-US residents and international business owners. And in the UAE, they will give you your accountant that can help you do all these filings both in the UAE and in the US without you having to worry about it. So I couldn't recommend this service enough. Again, you can speak with them for free either on WhatsApp over here or on a free call down below in the description and ask any questions you have, explain your precise situation, and they can advise you forward from there. Now, if you want to see a more detailed breakdown of exactly how to set up the UAE company and also get yourself a residence visa via this company, all the steps involved in this process, you can watch this video right here. However, if you want to see a more detailed account of how to set up the US LLC, you can watch this video right here. So watch one of these videos next, and I will see you in the next video.